Sounds
Our
good.
presenter this evening is a three-time distinguished Toastmaster, Paul Arnhold. Paul joined Toastmasters in 2008. He has served in many club and district roles, including area director, now in 3 districts. He was part of a district trio and later held several district support roles. Paul was named Toastmaster of the Year in 2016-2017 year, has been published in a Toastmaster magazine, started several clubs, was a successful club coach, youth leadership coordinator, and has coordinated or helped with at least 5 Speechcraft programs. Please help me welcome Paul, who will be sharing Speechcraft. There'll be a few resources that I will put in the chat. And as always, we'll leave time open for questions after Paul's presentation is concluded. Without further delay, please help me welcome Paul Arnhold.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How many of you would like to revitalize your club and increase membership? Perhaps you've thought about exploring the possibility of starting a brand new club, but not quite sure how to go about it. Introducing the #1 club building tool Toastmasters has to offer in a 4, 6, or 8-week format, a communication skills series, communication program Toastmasters call Speechcraft. Now, Speechcraft is one word. It's not supposed to be separated. There's no hyphen. It's registered as Speechcraft. That's something interesting. And one little side note, thanks to Cheryl Rausch, she has registered hashtag Speechcraft. So if you include that in any of your correspondences, you're trying to build a Speechcraft program or want to explore a little more, by putting that hashtag in there, you'll get all kinds of links to some very helpful information as you go along. And Yuri is going to be kind enough to share his screen, and a first video that I'd love for you to hear is a promotion on Speechcraft.
I will share that now. I will share my screen, and I think I need to share sound. Give me a couple moments to do that.
Not a problem.
The best way to make money on Amazon is not.
Hi, friends. Do you have to speak before a group, in person or online, much like I'm speaking to you now? Speaking success is tied to life success, often through little milestones, such as a job interview, an important work presentation, a graduate dissertation.
Just a quick check. Can everyone hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
Okay.
Or even a social speech, such as a wedding toast. If you have any of these or another speaking engagement coming up, Toastmasters International can help you prepare and practice through its Speechcraft program. Since 1924, Toastmasters is synonymous with excellence in public speaking, offering education and training in club settings. But you don't have to be a member to get the benefit of Speechcraft. For your convenience, Speechcraft is a condensed version of what Toastmasters offers its members and is available to you in 4, 6, or 8-week programs. Sign up for a Speechcraft event today.
All right, that's just one example of the many resources that Toastmasters offer our members, such as these short videos. And in a little bit, you'll hear about a whole plethora of resources. To talk fully about Speechcraft, it certainly takes more than a half hour. So I'm going to hit more on the high points and give you access to some wonderful resources as we go along. See, with Speechcraft, the possibilities are endless. Now, allow me to share just a couple of examples from my experience utilizing Speechcraft, which will in turn hopefully answer some questions for you. And maybe, just maybe, it might just be to open your minds to its potential. My first real exposure to Speechcraft came when I had just moved to Tennessee. I became an area director right away, and at one of the division council meetings, I asked them, please put up a map of the area, because every city in Tennessee ends with a Ville, and it got kind of confusing. So I'm seeing this great big map, and I'm seeing this whole big blank area of a very populated area around Blount County or Maryville area in Tennessee. And I asked the question, why don't we have any clubs in Blount County, in Maryville? And I started getting some of the excuses. I said, no. That's not what I asked for. Why don't we have clubs there? It certainly looks like an area that could use a club. Well, we did a long time ago, and there is one person that expressed interest. I said, give me her name. It was a woman. So I contacted the lady, and she was vaguely interested. I invited her to a meeting to talk about the possibilities. I also had two other experienced Toastmasters, Don King, who was a professor at Pellissippi College, and Mary Mixon, who was an ultimate Toastmaster originally from Mississippi. Very, very solid people. And I said, since you both live in the area, can we meet together and see what the possibility would be? And as we were sitting, I don't know where we met the first time, but Don mentioned that he had a former student who was really interested in Toastmasters. She works at this place called Vienna Coffee House, now my favorite coffee house to order coffee from. And she's really interested. He goes, maybe we could just have start a Toastmasters club at the coffee shop. And at first I said, hey, wait a minute. That doesn't sound very conducive. I'm thinking a traditional coffee shop. I said, how would you ever do that? He goes, no. They have a conference room downstairs that holds 30 people and one that's even larger upstairs. I said, why are we sitting here? So we went over to Vienna Coffee House and fell in love with the place. And we started our planning. And that's really the important part to any success, whether you're going to start a new club, whether you're going to offer Speechcraft or some other kind of training. You need a good plan, and you need to follow through with that plan. And so we said, let's do it by starting a Speechcraft. So what we ended up doing is we did a little bit of the market research that you normally do for starting a club. Who are the really cool organizations in the area? Sometimes it's a chamber, sometimes it's Rotary or another such club. We want to avoid those days. We had to work around Don's teaching schedule. So we picked Wednesday. And right from the get-go, because I had visited and then joined a club in Knoxville that was very, very leader driven. It just oozed professionalism. And I just love that. That's why I joined the club. But the club had an issue. You never got to know anyone outside of the club meetings because everyone just took off. It was a noon club, very, very efficient. So I said, I want us to develop a professional club, leader-driven club with heart. And that's what we did. So we talked a little bit and came up with a game plan. The game plan would be to secure the room, and John, the owner, gave the room to us for free because his employee was going to be part of it and he wanted to help her out. So I needed funding for the $125 fee. So we visited another former Toastmaster. He had a financial business. Went in there and talked to him, and long story short, he agreed to support it, and we gave him credit in the local papers and things of that nature. But our plan was, since we were planning on Wednesday morning, a 1 hour meeting, we would fit in, yes, as possible, 3 speeches, table topics, all the major roles, and still be supportive. That was our plan, and we followed through with that. So what we did is created some flyers and asked the owner of the coffee shop if it's all right if we pass them around. He agreed. He said, fine. I said, I promise you won't be too salesy. So on every day of the week for 2 weeks, we would go over to the coffee shop at 7:30 in the morning when we were going to start the club and talk to people and invite people along. And in the beginning, we got maybe a handful of people. I had, I think, 10, they were manuals at that time, Speechcraft manuals. And I thought, oh, that'd be good. If we get 5 to 7 people, I'm happy. But then Mary met Regina. Regina was part of a networking group that met there about an hour after that. And she was convinced that this was something that would be good for the networking group. She says, I'm going to bring them all along. We thought, okay, that's talk is cheap. But she did. So I had to call around and get a lot of the manuals from other clubs. District had a few. We used to have district stores back then. So I got enough. And we had, I think it was 17 people in our Speechcraft. When it was done, all but 2 joined. But we had the plan. We had an action plan, and we followed through on that. It was so awesome. And that club, every year, including the first year, has been President's Distinguished every single year. And what's really awesome then is shortly afterwards, after we got the club going, didn't take long to get 20 plus members. I got a phone call. We had a lead from the district on 2 clubs, one at Clayton Homes, which is a Berkshire Hathaway company, and one for Pilot Flying J in Knoxville. So they asked me to take the one in Blount County since I was already active there, and another experienced Toastmaster took the other one. We started that club again with a Speechcraft and 40 members signing up. It was awesome because, see, with Speechcraft, it gives those building blocks that sometimes take 6 months or a year for a traditional member to achieve. So I needed to find, because I'm an area director and they knew I knew how to start clubs. So I needed a new club sponsor, 2 new club sponsors, 2 new club mentors. Guess where I got 2 of those from the Maryville Club. So I had 1 new club sponsor, 1 new club mentor. Then I paired them with 2 experienced people because I didn't want to have them come in with 0 experience, but they had excitement and resolve that they were going to make this happen. So it was really cool to have those people take on the leadership roles. So then Clayton Homes, because they appreciated what they gained, not only through Toastmasters, but especially Speechcraft, when it was time for their interns to get hired in, we did 2 years in a row. We did Speechcraft for their interns. How cool is that? There is no limit to the possibilities. Another way to use Speechcraft, even if you don't do a formal Speechcraft program, you can take the learning points, the educational sessions, and bring them to any club. In District 62, we had one gentleman that did that. Any low member club, he would go in and do those educational sessions just to build up that club. And then I also used the elements in when I coached a club to President's Distinguished. I used those elements. I took 5-minute sessions of each of those educational sessions, and myself and other experienced people would offer those because they're good building blocks. What's also cool about Speechcraft, even though Speechcraft, it's one club that sponsors it, pays the fees to get the materials, but you can bring other people in from other clubs, especially for those educational sessions. It's so cool to bring in experienced people that are experts in a particular area to enlighten those new members. We did it as a lunch and learn at a chamber. That one, I wish I could say it was a success story. It really wasn't. A couple of reasons for that. Number one, the chamber refused to meet every week, and I think that's crucial if you're going to do a Speechcraft, keep them going every week. We had to do every other week, and they insisted on doing their own marketing, and you would think a chamber would know how to do that. We tried and tried. That one just didn't happen to work. That, before we get into the content, that one thing that I really want to express is the marketing end of anything that we do, whether it's Speechcraft, open houses, you name it, has to be a priority and has to be well thought out and executed. As an area director this year, I've been encouraging my clubs to consider doing a Speechcraft. After all, our memberships are down, it's no secret. But why not use a tool that would really help grow and revitalize our district? In fact, Cheryl Roche, the one who I'm offering links and materials from California, she started with Toastmasters, 40 years ago, or 35 years ago. They were part of a club that was met at a hospital. They were kind of like the average club. They had about 10 people show up. Nothing that exciting, but they function. So they brought in Speechcraft in there, and one of the members, which is kind of typical sometimes in clubs, oh, why do we need more members? We're comfortable where we are. And another lady spoke up and she goes, listen, if we don't grow, we're going to die. And that's all it took. So they marketed it correctly and got people there. You know how many people they got? 65 people showed up to the Speechcraft. Now that's pretty amazing, isn't it? How many of us would love results like that? But it can happen. But the club that I visited, okay, just a second, bud. The club that I visited maybe a couple of weeks ago, they said, well, we tried a Speechcraft a couple of times. It just didn't work. No one showed up. Well, perhaps they didn't market it correctly. What do we do? Whether it's Speechcraft, whether it's open houses, what's our typical marketing approach? We put it on our club Facebook pages, and all the people that are connected to that are Toastmasters already. Or if we go out in the public, we'll call it something like Speechcraft or an open house, something that folks just can't relate to. They don't know what a Speechcraft is. But that's why I go back to, it's an 8-week communication skills series. That at least gives them the idea what it's all about. And Yuri, you had a question?
I don't think I had a question, but I know that there'll be a couple of resources that Paul will mention coming up, and I will share my screen when he references those resources, and I'll put those resources in the chat.
Awesome. And that's the other thing I was going to mention. I was involved with Cheryl Roche's last YouTube Speechcraft and marketing training. So you hear me on that, and I'm giving you a link to that because she spent a good hour and a half talking about Speechcraft and a little bit about marketing, which is really kind of awesome. So I'm sharing a link to that presentation, all the handouts plus a few others. They're there for your benefit. And so as far as that goes, I want to thank Yuri for doing that for me. It's a lot of work and I appreciate that. So as mentioned before, Speechcraft is a 4, 6, or 8 week program. From my experience and from the experience of most others that I've talked to, the 8 week version seems to work the best. Because unlike a regular Toastmasters meeting where no one is forced to give speeches, in Speechcraft, they are assigned different roles, table topics, several speeches, evaluating speeches. It's all part of the Speechcraft program. And if you try to rush it, it's not fair to the participants. We call them speech crafters. It's not fair to them. They feel pressured and may even lose a little interest. I've done all 4, 6, and 8 weeks, and personally, I think that 8 weeks work out best. In fact, when we built the club in Maryville called the Morning Club, we had 8 weeks of Speechcraft. Our 9th week, that was our kickoff meeting or demo meeting for a new club. We didn't tell them that that was our end goal because they signed up for a Speechcraft program like they would for Dale Carnegie. We didn't want to make it a sales thing with them. We wanted them to see the value of Speechcraft and Toastmasters. Then it was week 6, we mentioned something in passing at the end of a meeting. Week 7, that's when we really explained the benefits. And we'll get into pricing a little bit. Now, the cost of the program used to be a little less. It's not bad now, but we charge $35. And that $35, if they join that next week, they get the $20 fees, the one-time fees paid. They would also get club dues paid. So really all they had to do is the international dues, prorated international dues, and that seemed to work out pretty well. Okay. Again, I'm just going to emphasize the communication skills series. And I have had good success mentioning the certification part of it. Everyone's motivated by something else. And sometimes if we say you're going to get a certificate for it, maybe a supervisor at a corporation just might say, well, yeah, I think you should go for that, encourage them to go. I think that the key is whenever we advertise or try to promote Toastmasters is we want people to recognize their pains. What are their pains? Anything that they have difficulty with. Maybe for some, it's really challenging for them to even get up in front of a small group of people. Can you guys think of any pains that people might have? Maybe even think of your own when you first joined Toastmasters. What motivated you to join? Why don't you just throw a couple of those in chat? Think of some pains that people might recognize, or so if you can throw them in there, then they'll pop up for us when you do. And I'm not seeing any yet. Let me pull it up. I don't know what that one was. Okay, fear of networking. A lot of people have that fear, don't they? What was Paul's way of phrasing again? I put down, I gotta see him enough. a communication skills series. I kind of like that. And this one says, I joined because I was up for a promotion, which would put me in front of groups of people. That's scary, isn't it? That's a pain. And the communication series, there's all kinds of pains out there, and they're different for each and every one of us. But what we want to be is the Advil to their pain, the solution to their pain. When people consider joining Toastmasters, it needs to be for their reasons, not ours. Sometimes, when we're trying really hard to get those numbers to work out for us, it really ends up being about us, doesn't it? If you get a visitor coming into your club in any given meeting, you get pretty excited, don't you? And we should, but who's that about? Who should it be really about? That's the beauty of when you build your clubs, and I believe that the average strength should be 25 to 30, because it takes 15 people to run a Toastmasters meeting without duplicating roles. We need those people there. And the thing is, if you have a club that's like 35 members, the cool thing about it is when a guest comes in, we don't have the pressures of we need to get these people to join. We actually try to connect with them and see how we might be able to help them out. And if I notice something, a strength in them, I also tell them, hey, we could really use you here too, because what you have to offer is really valuable. We would really appreciate that. So it's a two-way street there. So we are the solution to their problems. And that's going to be really evident when we go through the content of Speechcraft. Okay, how does Speechcraft work? We'll just have Yuri, you can share your screen again on show the 8 topics on the handout.
Yep, I'm doing that right now. And it's this one right here.
Okay, it was going to be the other one, but we'll go to this one first. It doesn't matter. We can change order. Okay, when people sign up for Speechcraft, it's really cool. Much better than the traditional program used to be. The new digital bundle saves us a ton of work if we're the coordinator. You'll see here there are these circles that you see here, and Speechcrafters get credit depending upon how many projects they do, and you can certainly read for yourself, and you can see then if someone does all the projects that you can easily fit in an 8-week session, they not only complete level 1, introduction to Toastmasters mentoring, and 2 level 3 electives. Now, because it is tied into Toastmasters Network, when members become members, when Speechcrafters become Toastmasters, that will automatically convert to completion of level 1 and wherever they end up. And isn't that cool? And our VP of E's don't have to do it either. That automatically happens on Toastmasters end. What an incentive if people are considering joining. We have 2 incentives, that one, and also when we talk about payment, to give them something back, such as the $20 fee, or you can actually pay for the first 6 months if you charge enough. It's up to you what you want to do as a club. But isn't that cool, all those credits? Now, if you go to the other one right away, Yuri, the one that also has 8 points.
Okay, I think I know
looks
which
like
one.
this.
Let me try. Sorry, let me try to share something else.
It looks like this one.
This is it this one?
Yeah. So as we're going through Speechcraft, here are the educational points that you make, your educational program. Yes, they learn all these different areas. They get comfortable with table topics, so you learn how to evaluate speeches. It's a whole gamut, but it's very systematically designed. So one of them is choosing a speech topic. And if you're the coordinator, you're not going to do this on your own. You're going to have to you will want to have at least 3 people on your core team to help you out, because as we break people into groups, choosing a speech topic, maybe each helper will get 3 or 4 people, and you help them decide on that first speech topic for their icebreaker speech. And once you ask them some specific questions, it doesn't take long for them to get it. That makes them feel so much more comfortable. And you also offer your help if, when they're writing the speech, if they have further questions, feel free to contact that person or the coordinator. Prepare to present. Giving and receiving feedback. Learn your purpose, your speech purpose. Talk a little bit about body language, gestures, facial gestures as well. How to evaluate a speech. We don't want people just to whitewash evaluations such as, oh, that was a great presentation. I can't think of another thing you could have done. Well, they have no reason to come back. So you help them, and even if they do a great and fantastic job, you still pick something out that maybe is one of their strengths and help them get better at that. Vocal variety, powerful words. Now, any of those 8 could help any member, couldn't it? Especially if we've been a club for a long time, and it's been a little bit since we went to Pathways, and those aren't, they're in Pathways, but not as evident as they used to be in the CC manual. What a great opportunity as a refresher, both for those who are new and those who have been around for a little bit. Now, here's the other cool thing. You ask people within your district or outside of your district to help out. Maybe you know someone that's really, really awesome on body language. You ask them to come in and present on that. Or maybe someone just has a way with words and you recognize that. Have them do the powerful words session. And don't be afraid to ask beyond even your district. Maybe call one of the someone that is part of the National Speakers Association, past international directors. They'd be more than happy to help out. And so it isn't all on you, and it shouldn't be all on you, because as a coordinator, it's kind of like being the Toastmaster of the meeting each week. You still have other people to help fulfill those roles. So it's a fantastic opportunity there. Okay, so because I have so much, and just to move along, let's talk money. What does it cost for a Speechcraft program? Okay, they come in these digital bundles now. The bundles cost $50, and that allows 5 participants for each bundle. As you grow your numbers, you will then add another bundle. But there's a math equation to it that has to make sense to the club. If you have 5 people, $50, $10 a person isn't bad at all. But if say you get a second bundle and you're only going to have 2 people on that second one, you have to decide whether or not you're going to offer that until you fill that void a little higher. Otherwise, it's $25 a person. Kind of expensive unless you charge quite a bit. The other thing is with the bundles, once you purchase them and start the program, say you have 4 people per bundle, and that's fine. The coordinator will still get credit even if there's a couple members or a couple participants, you'll still get credit for putting on the Speechcraft. But if you only say have 3 people on that bundle, you can't carry those over to your next program. It has to be that you either use it or lose it. Now, if you're starting to get up to 3 or 4 and want to decide to continue to market and get more people, that's really kind of fun. I only had experience once so far with the digital bundle. I helped out, and this was in Tennessee. Corporation wanted to start a club, so I was one of the helpers. What we ended up doing is have 3 different coordinators because we had several people. In fact, we had 35 people that signed up for Toastmasters out of that. So we ran it as a shared platform where 3 people got credit, and yet we worked together. The coordinator was still responsible for their group of people, but we all took turns with the breakout sessions and helping them out. It was really, really amazing. And the thing is, before the digital bundle came out, there was a lot of paperwork we had to do on our own. I mean, the coordinator would have to come up with their own spreadsheet. This person gave a table topic, this one didn't, this one did speech 1, this one did speech 3. Now with the digital bundle, the coordinator simply goes in there and clicks their name, confirming that they completed that. So how much do you charge? That's a tough question. It's something that I think we all need to wrestle with a little bit. Toastmasters allows us to charge as much as a full year's international dues. So we could charge as much as $120. That's fine, but you're also going to limit your market as well. But you can do it, and it can be used as a fundraiser. Clubs can use those funds, unlike when a person joins. We cannot use funds to pay people's membership dues. With Speechcraft, you can if you would like to do it. You can pay for the materials. It could be a fundraiser, but it's a fundraiser in the sense of educational materials, things that are going to help the club out. It may be that you have to rent a facility to put one of these on. That's fine, but it can't be to throw a party. It's got to be for the benefit of education in the club. So that's kind of important. When we did one, it was cheaper. I mentioned $35. The average now, what I understand from talking around, about $50 a person. And with that $50, you can cover a lot of things for them as an incentive to join. I do not believe you should offer these for free. You could, you have that prerogative. If the club pays $50, they can offer them for free. But I think it's important to have a little bit of skin in the game. Otherwise, why would people come back if 1 week's a little tougher? If they invest some of their own money, their chances are they're going to continue all the way through. Let's see. I know you're going to have some extra questions on that one as well. Again, in chat, what you're going to get is the full YouTube video, all the resources that she showed, everything that I showed is in chat. You can grab that as you please. I would definitely, by all means, listen to that video. It's about an hour and a half length. It takes a little bit of time, but it's well worth it. And you'll hear a couple of my comments because I was on it. I'd like Yuri to show just one of those sheets. The last one I sent you, Yuri, it's the one from District 38 with the resources on it. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody so they see it.
Okay.
As he's bringing that up, District 38 Speechcraft coordinator did a fantastic job listing a lot of resources, and they're all live links. Why I appreciate this and why I appreciate what Cheryl did, especially with the marketing on, is when this first came out in digital format, in order to get marketing materials, you had to pay at least $50 in order to get the marketing materials, which still come with the bundle. But this way, she's given us so much so we can start promoting it our own, all using proper branding, the right colors, right format. It's truly a gift for us. Now, is anyone on the call before we go into questions and answers? Anyone on the call ever put on a Speechcraft before? You can throw it in the chat if you have. Okay, Yuri did. That's awesome, Yuri. I understand it's been a little bit since our district has put these on, and I'm going to encourage you to really think about this. It's very a very positive thing. It's a great growth opportunity, not only for members or clubs and for ourselves. Let's see. Okay, Teresa also helped with Speechcraft a few years back, and did Speechcraft at one of her jobs. It is, if you market it correctly, you can get some people there. I've tried different things. Some did work, some didn't. I tried to do a 4-week one. It was terrible. A 6-week one isn't bad if you're limited on time. Okay, quickly, one thing I should have put in my notes. There are a couple of ways you can go about this. A standalone program where you meet weekly for an hour and a half. And beauty of that is that it's focused on the program itself. We aren't there to sell Toastmaster memberships. That comes later on. And it really isn't sales. It's an opportunity to continue in what they're already learning. The other way that was mentioned that Cheryl really likes is she'll do it in conjunction with regular club meetings. Say if you meet every other week, you'd still have Speechcraft every week, but we'd have club members every other week there. And I was really hoping that one of our members said that she had done this before, and she's actually worked with Cheryl in the past. Rhonda Williams, the name escaped me for a minute. And she might be a good person to ask how that works. I haven't had any experience with that. However, she thought it worked very well. So I would, if you're going to consider that way, at least reach out to Rhonda and get more details how that works. I'm sure that it's just fantastic, but it's hard to get my head around it if I haven't experienced it yet. Because we're running late in time and I want to give you an opportunity to ask questions, we have 10 minutes. So you're going to ask away. You're going to help me a little bit with, let's just raise our hands if you have any questions. I mean, there's a ton more we could cover, but a limited amount of time.
Susan, I see in the chat you wrote you just finished helping the 6-week Speechcraft with Century Insurance.
Awesome.
Would you like to share a little bit about
please.
how that was?
Sure. I was asked by Dick, who was on a little bit earlier, if I would be interested in helping him out because I need to do a Speechcraft for my DTM. And so I said, yes, I'll jump at the chance. I had talked with Dick earlier this summer about how to do things and a couple of other people, and I had a pretty good idea. So he asked me to help out with the first session. And then I kind of invited myself for all 5 remaining ones. And so I was either the general evaluator, speech evaluator. I did one table topics, and the people were very good. I believe we had about 8 or 9 people. And what's nice is that they do their advertising right within Century Insurance. So they're catering to employees already who are in the company. And they offer this Speechcraft twice a year. So they offered it right now in the fall. They'll do it again in the spring. And this time they did something special. And in fact, I'm asking one of the members who was involved in it and did the videotaping to use for advertising within the company if he'd write a short little article for the next December Edge. And so we'll have a little bit of information on that, I hope, as long as he gets that written. He's all gung-ho on doing it. So I think I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to doing mine, and I'm working on the group right now that I will find out a week from this Thursday if I've got enough people to go with it or not.
That's awesome, Susan. In fact, what's recommended that clubs, they do them every 6 months or every 9 months. And once you see the benefit of it, you do them. You know, part of the other reason is, our district doesn't have a lot of clubs that are at full, charter strength. That's okay. We just went through COVID and we're rebuilding right now. But what an opportunity, because the 20 members is a minimum that we need. And for a corporate club, it's closer to 25. We call those programs instead of clubs. It helps with marketing. But is there anything that you might add, Susan, since you've gone through it, that I might have missed?
I guess it's a little bit different doing the advertising for a corporate club that has a captured audience or potential captured audience versus community. So, sorry about that, versus a community club. So I guess if you have suggestions on how to do it with a community club, although I'm working with my volunteer organization, which is Richmond Historical Society. So I know a lot of the people there already. And in fact, my committee, one committee I work on, has 11 people. So I'm hoping I can get some people out of that. I have at least 5 that appear to be interested. So I'm at that point you were talking about, 1 kid or 2. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they did do a really nice job at Century with their advertising. And I think the other one I helped with was one of the leadership clubs that had just started a couple years ago. I think I presented a couple of those. I was helping out Dave Hendrickson.
Okay. You awesome member of our club?
Yes.
Yes. So not to put you on the spot, and we have a hand up here. We'll take the hand first. Todd, what's your question, Todd?
I was just going to say that I'm a product of the product. Actually, 26 years ago, I joined the Speechcraft course that was being put on by the club in my city. And since that time, I've used it. I've started 5 clubs, so I've used it in all those 5 plus more clubs. I just haven't done one online since we've been doing them online. And in District 61, we had one club that was told by International to stop doing it. They were making so much money as a fundraiser that they literally had $5,000 in their bank account because of how many times they were putting it on and how much they were collecting for running a communication skills course.
Okay.
But they got a nice letter from International saying cease and desist charging whatever you're charging because it's too much.
But people were paying it.
Oh yeah, they were paying upwards of $250 for 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what I've heard from people, it's even though you can fundraise, that's not the core purpose of having them, is to build people's skills and build their membership up because of that. But that's fantastic that you had that kind of experience. And so, are you in District 61? Are you
I'm
in
in
our
5 I'm in 5 different districts and 5 different clubs. Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm around the world.
Awesome.
But yes, I am in District 35 with some cohorts that are in this room from DJAB.
Oh, fantastic. And could you be called upon to do one of the presentations when we offer one?
Oh, I've been known to give many of them.
Okay.
If you actually Google
Good.
my name, you could probably find a couple of them on the internet as
Yeah.
well.
So if you're planning on starting a Speechcraft, you got your first volunteer over here. Isn't that great? So I know it's a small group today, but yeah, maybe raise your thumb or a smile or something if you think that within the next 6 months you want to explore doing a Speechcraft.
I'm not sure if it may work for any one of my clubs, but definitely I can think of one club that is well worth doing Speechcraft, and that's something that I think Paul you're there in the Wisconsin club. I think they're in Division
Yeah.
D. You might be familiar with them, but I think that club is a prime candidate to try out a Speechcraft.
And that's part of their area director, is part of their club success plan is to offer a Speechcraft. So that's fantastic. Thank you for that encouragement there. I want to be fair to everybody in time. I can talk for hours on end, just ask Susan. However, we're really close to the 8 o'clock hour. And I want to personally thank Yuri for all the work that he's done. He's a techie person, which I am not. And he saw my several hundred, not quite, few drafts and finally got it narrowed down. I looked at what I had and I said, there's no way I can cover all this in an hour. So I took about half of what I had, tried to give you the best that I could. But I am a resource for you. If you have any questions, need a little encouragement for your clubs, if you need someone to come in and talk to them within a 5 to 7 minute speech, I'm here for you. I think it's that important. Like Todd sees the benefits, Susan and Yuri. Let's just get this rolling. And I have a personal goal with Jason would love in the next 3 years. I'd like to see our membership in District 35 triple. And I think we can make it happen. But we have to be intentional. And we need to get away from COVID thinking. We're past COVID now. Now it's time to rebuild. So that's all I have, unless Yuri has something else.
Thank you, Paul. I put a couple of links in the chat. The first one is a YouTube video. It's called District 1, How to Attract New Member and Retain Existing Ones. I believe that's the one looks like about an hour and 27 minutes. I think that's
Right.
the one that is done by Cheryl Rausch,
Right.
who is the DTM Bass District Governor. AS and CVP. I'm not sure. I think it's something that created leader silver or I don't know what those acronyms are, but I know what DTM and PDG is. Anyway, that's the link that will take you to her presentation. I will send Robert the resources that Paul shared with me, and he can then send it out to every one of us, or it can be made available to everyone here, hopefully soon. And I know it's Chris, Susan, Jason, Todd. I know they have everybody's email. We can make that available. And even Tracy, we can make it available too. If you want to, Tracy, if you want to put down your email in the chat, we can definitely send the resources over to you as well. And then you can use them to your advantage.
I was actually at that presentation that she gave.
Oh, were you?
District 1. She's going to be giving it again, I think, November 18th to, I think it's District 54 or 58, I think.
Yeah, she gives all kinds of them. She is an expert at it. Knows she probably forgets more about Speechcraft than I'll ever pick up. The other thing is I don't know if it's going to happen. I suggested that Robert consider having her come to our conference and just doing a session on marketing, not just Speechcraft, but marketing our clubs, our open houses, maybe change the way we look at things, such as we're going to have a special event or free workshop versus always calling them open houses. There's a lot of cool ideas that she had, and it's up to Robert and his team, but also her availability. I think it would be very, very beneficial to this district.
Oh, for sure. She's visited District 61 on a number of occasions. She was part of a special panel day that we did maybe last fall, where we brought in, like Jay Gamache and people like that who won all the way to the international level. And she was on the panel talking about her marketing and her newsletter abilities and stuff like that. And she again went over that newsletter stuff in that presentation that you're going to see for the
Right.
hour and a half. She was keynoting for that district. I think District 1 is her district.
It
But
is.
for Yuri, credited speaker is the AS, and that's like the thing you do after you've done your DTM when you want to get into the professional world of speaking, because you're qualified and juried in by your peers. WCS stands for World Champion of Public Speaking, but that's not what she is. She's a certified virtual presenter. She's a CVP or something like that, and she also has one of the other set of initials, but she was not a world champion, but she
Yeah.
has been a past district governor for one of the districts as well.
Yeah, written several books.
Yep.
Cool lady. A value.
Very,
what she
very
brings.
genuine and very
Exactly.
sharing to help the cause. She's
Yeah.
drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Okay. Are we good, Yuri?
I think we are. Thank you, Paul, for sharing with us about Speechcraft. Excellent presentation. I personally like the story about your clubs in Tennessee, how you approached a rather perhaps a, a a problem or rather a situation had dim prospects, and how it all worked out quite well in the end. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by tonight on this first Sunday of darkness earlier. And I'm not sure, I do not see any other events scheduled for the remainder of the year, which might change. But in the meantime, thank you for spending part of your Sunday night with us. We'll make those resources available. And above all else, Paul, thank you for an excellent presentation.